Hello and welcome. You know when I said more content coming? That was a lie, but it's all good because we're coming back with the season predictions right before the season starts this year. I waited until all the preseason was over, and it did shake up things quite a bit, especially in the Atlantic for me. But I'm going to do it the way that I have been doing it, where I start with the Pacific Division and then go to the Metro, Central, Atlantic, just be different, you know? And the Pacific is what I know best, and so it should be no surprise coming from, I'm a Vegas fan. Hey, to those that are new, I try to be objective and to show my fandom. Like I'm definitely a Vegas Golden Knight fan, but I love hockey, okay? And so let's just don't think of me as if you might already in your preconceived notion of Vegas fans think about how Vegas fans view this. I've been a fan of hockey for, how old am I? The predictions for the season. These are going to be completely wrong, but based off of, you know, no injuries happening that have not already happened, you know, what do I see happening throughout the year? And starting again with the Pacific Division, I'm going to go 8th to 1st, because why not? Starting in 8th, my bold prediction for the year is Seattle Kraken. They added Marchment and Freddie Gaudreau and Ryan Lindgren. I don't really know where you're going with this. Marchment is a good pickup for what you need. Really what you're counting on is a bounce back from Beniers, right? Really being able to take that next step and show his dominance in the NHL. And just, you know, losing Yanni Gourde sucks. I like Yanni Gourde a lot. I don't know. I don't see great things, and being bold. Like, this is a bold prediction to put you guys 8th, and I know that. But hey, your jersey set, including your new thirds, which I'm a little disappointed you didn't use the anchor for, but hey, they look sick still. Top 5 in the league, so you got that going for you. 8th in the Pacific though. 7th, I'm having San Jose. Adding veterans like Orlov, Jeff Skinner, cool. And Alex Nedeljkovic. I like these signings for you guys. Again, with you guys as well, it's another step with youth movement with Celebrini, Misa, I almost said Mitchkov. Smith, Eklund, I think he'll definitely improve, and there's a lot of bright spots with San Jose. Those anniversary jerseys are also really looking good. But 7th, and that is a step forward, and I see great things in your future. Calgary. It didn't really add anything, and maybe that's because y'all didn't score, so you didn't see that ticker go up, but that's what you're supposed to do in the off season. Anyway, look, the scoring should regress to the mean, which means the scoring should pick up from where it was last season. There's no way everybody has lows in their shooting percentage again, right? And Dustin Wolf is spectacular, but I don't know that he has another season where he steals you every game that you win. And so both of those regress, I don't know, just woof. And not in reference to Harvey the Hound, just your season, go for McKenna. 6th and 5th. Another bold prediction, I think. I have the Los Angeles Kings, because Ken Holland, I think I'm a better GM than him. Signing Ceci and Dumoulin to those massive, ton of money contracts is insane to me. And yeah, it's Kopitar's swan song of a season, and I'm gonna miss Kopitar in the league. He's fantastic. He's one of those players that like just always seems to score against Vegas, and so I hate it, but I also respect him so much. And you know, I wish that it would be looking a lot better than it currently does going into his last year. But losing Gavrikov and adding those guys, I don't know. 5th. In 4th, I have the Anaheim Ducks. I like their youth a lot. Jackson Lacombe, of course there's also Mintikov I really like, and Mason McTavish. You all did lose Zegras and Gibson, who was your guys' backup, and he was solid. He was getting paid way more than a backup should be, and getting rid of his contract that had been rumored for how many years now was probably a good thing overall. But Dostal is fantastic. I really have high hopes for the Anaheim Ducks this year, and it'll be good to see them maybe back in the offs, right? Just got to beat St. Louis in the Central Division to lock up the 4th in the Pacific. I even forgot adding Granlund and Kreider, and I mean, technically having a full season of Trouba as well. Really, I like the Ducks a lot, and so I'm putting my faith in them, putting them at 4th in the Pacific Division. In 3rd, I had the Vancouver Canucks, and this one is hard for me personally because even though I love the Canucks, a surprise of the offseason with Brock Besser re-signing with your club. Genuinely, I was shocked that happened. He is going to hopefully do well. Pettersson hopefully does something better, and Demko hopefully, these are a lot of hopefullys and you probably don't want to hear that in a season prediction, is healthy for the most part for you. I freaking hope so. I have his jersey. Demko, I love the guy, and it's really up to that. And Quinn Hughes having another Norris caliber season, Vancouver taking a step back into the playoffs to be 3rd in the Pacific would be really, really good for them. But why did you have to ruin it by signing it and trading for Evander Kane? Really? Dude, come on. Or as my son likes to say, bruh. Just no. I automatically like you guys less. And you were my second favorite team. Favorite. Like, there was a huge gap, but like, I lived in Vancouver. Anyway, I know he's from there, and that, but which would mean that y'all's matchup, because they didn't change the playoff format, unfortunately, but y'all's matchup in the first round of the playoffs would be against my Vegas Golden Knights. And the reason that I have them second, mostly, is because there will be some sort of a step back, I think, in building that locker room chemistry. We lost Petro, and that's a huge loss. We added Mitch Marner, the off-season fish. Of course we did, and you know, the rest of the league just loves us for that, right? But mostly, a lot of people that are not, like, don't get me wrong, I think the Petro loss is going to be big, but if you're an East Coast watcher and don't watch the Vegas Golden Knights, but like know hockey and like keep up with the news and stuff, I think a lot of you would say something along the lines of, I think people aren't going to realize how much of a loss that is. And yes, it's hard, but also I don't think, in my opinion, he played great the second half of the season and the playoffs. And I think we'll miss him more for his leadership, his veteran and championship mindset, and that presence that he brings into the locker room, despite what Leon Draisaitl might think. Like, I'm not trying to dig at like East Coast watchers. Look, the bane of my existence right now is being a Vegas Golden Knight fan and trying to watch every single game when I live in the Eastern Standard Time. It is so horrid. I cannot, like, and I'm a huge fan, and like, they bring me joy, and I have a hard time with it. So if you don't like the Vegas Golden Knights, why on earth would you? Anyway, my point is, there's all that. Losing Haig is also rough. He was a solid third pair defenseman for us, and he was big and Hager bombs. But adding Marner and Sissons and Lauzon and seeing where we go with all that, and you know, hopefully Korczak or Whitecloud are able to take a step to be solid in the top 4 second pair slot, and Theodore really cementing himself as an elite number 1 defenseman in the league. Those things are going to be what it takes for them to show that they're a championship threat still, and that's why I have them second. Also, this might be superstitious, but Vegas has never won back-to-back Pacific Division championships. They won year 1, year 3. This is year 9. That's crazy. They won last year, so that's why they're not going to win this next year. You know, it's just which means in first Edmonton, and McDavid signing a 2 years, $12.5 million this morning. Insane. I'm sorry, what? Like, what? Wallman, who I like, at 7x7 is a lot, I think, if for another offensive-minded defenseman that doesn't fill any of the holes that you guys already had, right? Bouchard has shown to be a really solid number 1 offensive defenseman, D-man, whatever. And if he's able to not have the defensive lapses that he has in the regular season, yeah, like, he's worth his contract. Doesn't solve your guys' issue of not having a verified number 1 goaltender for the absolute refusal to acquire anyone. I mean, okay. Isaac Howard also looks to be a good addition, and he should do well. McDavid at 12.5 is just a steal. And, you know, I look forward to the next year and a half of not having these conversations to then have another conversation about this for another year and a half and figuring out where he might go 2 years after that, you know? But this is your guys' moment to win, and if you don't, you're gonna lose McDavid. If you do, you'll have to sign him to the 20% cap hit after that because he deserves it. But yeah, you know, good luck with that. Also, they got rid of Evander Kane, and I immediately hated Edmonton a little bit less, which is a crazy sentence from a Vegas fan, right? It was automatic. I did not like you less than I hated you before. Weird. So, Pacific down. Let's go to the Metro, starting with, I've got the New York Islanders. I genuinely teared up at Schaefer's draft moment with the tribute to his mom that the Islanders put on his jersey, and then that was just such a beautiful moment, and I really hope you're able to surround him with skill. And that's going to happen by you guys drafting those players that are high up in the draft order. So for your guys' sake, 8th, and no more Lou Lamoriello. So just things are looking up, right? 8th. The Pittsburgh Penguins acquired Dumba. Okay, I see where you're going with this. Mantha, he was injured. I don't know. He was good at first. I don't know. Okay, maybe. Archer Seelovs. Okay. You know, AHL championship doesn't necessarily equate to NHL success, even though he had that one playoff run in Vancouver in the NHL club. Keeping Raquel, Rust, and as for now, EK65, I know Crosby is fantastic, and he almost single-handedly willed you guys to the playoffs last year. I don't know, it's just, it's a Herculean task for Dubas to be able to rebuild the Penguins in Crosby's dying era. That moment with Fleury in the preseason was beautiful, so sweet. And Malkin's last year with the Penguins, it's just, I don't know. I think it would genuinely be in your best interest to go after McKenna. Of course you're going to get him too, because it's the Penguins, right? And it's the another, like, switching over. It was like Lemieux to Crosby, and now of course. So you guys are going to get McKenna. Must be nice. 7th. Philadelphia. Zegras, Vladar, Tocchet, all really nice pickups, and I think that'll definitely improve your team. I don't know if it'll improve it all the way to the playoffs, which is why I have you guys in 6th, but hey, you guys are looking on the up, and that's really good. Flyers in 6th. Columbus re-signed Provorov to a lot of money, and that was pretty much it. Which, underwhelming, especially riding the momentum of last season, which was completely unbelievable. You could not have convinced anybody that that was going to happen, even though you guys barely missed the playoffs. To be able to end where you did was really, really, really cool. I have you guys in 5th. I don't know. The direction of your club is very confusing. I like your young talent in Marchenko and Johnson, but Provorov for that, I don't know. Rags! I like Gavrikov, the addition of Gavrikov. Fox and Gavrikov have got to be one of the best D pairs in the league, right? Like, that's a phenomenal top pair. That locker room is so interesting because there were a lot of things that happened in the last year. A lot of leadership turnover with Trouba and Kreider. I don't know what's going on there, and if they're able to fix that, I expect them to bounce back towards the playoffs, which is why I have them in 4th. And maybe Sullivan and JT Miller are the voices to be able to do that. I don't know. We'll see. I have them in 4th. Just weird vibes from the Rangers. In 3rd, I have the Washington Capitals, which is almost exactly the exact same roster as last season, but a year older. And it's not that I think any of them are going to regress, although Ovi, no. He's going to score 900 in, like, the first game. He can get that game won. But then what's he going to do there? I don't know. Go to 1,000. If anyone could do it, it would be Ovechkin with the 105-goal season. But it's less regression and more, I just think other teams passed you. And so I have the Caps in 3rd. In 2nd, I have the Devils. And this is largely based on Hughes having a healthy season, because Jack is phenomenal, and Luke Hughes with that extension, I really, he's the highest paid Hughes brother. Luke Hughes. Anyway, the cap is so ridiculous right now. I think the Devils are going to be big players, and I like VGK legends Cody Glass and Paul Cotter and who else did they add? Connor Brown and Dodonov, another VGK legend Dodonov. Cool. Mark Sherman Allen as a tandem is all right. Allen to a 5-year 1.8. It was 5, right? Or 6, but 1.8. Like, that's really good for his quality. But I have high expectations, which is why I have you in second, which leaves in first in the Metro the Carolina Hurricanes. I put them here last year and they didn't quite hit that. They were second. But adding Nikolai Ehlers, okay. Also, Keandre Miller. Just huge additions. They lost Brent Burns, Dmitry Orlov, but Nikishin, full season of him, Logan Stankoven. I really have high expectations for the Carolina Hurricanes. It's just whether or not that translates into postseason success, and that's to be seen. But Carolina, first in the Metro. That's the Metro division. Let's head back out west to go to the Central, starting with 8th. I have Chicago again, mostly because they added some veterans with Burakovsky, Lafferty, and Grzelcyk, but are relying on development in their youth, which should take another step, right? Bedard had a very sophomore slump, and hopefully he's able to thrive and be one of the faces of the league by doing highlight level Connor Bedard things, but we'll see. And Frank Nazar, also, I really like that kid. That I genuinely just think they could have done better. They should have done better than what they did in the offseason. But in 7th, Nashville, who had the offseason to remember 2 seasons ago, right? And that didn't turn out well for them. Marchessault was fine, and Shea less than ideal. Stamkos had a huge regression. And maybe Stamkos bounces back a little bit, but adding Haig, I like, especially if he's able to really step up into that second pair defensive slot. He's capable of it. He just never had the opportunity in Vegas, and I hope he's able to, especially with that cap hit. I was actually inside you last weekend, Nashville. Went by Bridgestone and everything, wanted to go to that preseason game, would have seen Marchessault score the first in that overtime, 3-2 victory over the Canes, but alas, I forgot my 6-month-old's headphones and didn't want to have her lose her. I want her to be able to have her hearing into toddlerdom, so doing my best to allow for that, but I was there. Haig is fantastic. I love him. I would even verge on calling him incredible.
Nick, how you feeling?
No, incredible.
Another VGK legend in Howla, still have you in 7th. I really hope Saros bounces back, and I love the Weissblatt brothers. RIP to Orca, who I worked with in Athens last year. That was a really quick and emotional transition statement, but I'm gonna have to also emotionally transition out of that. Genuinely, seriously, I can't believe that happened. I loved watching Orca play. Anyway, Nashville, have you in 7th. I really hope you guys are able to bounce back and do higher than that, though. In 6th, I have, who do I have? Minnesota. You guys don't have Fleury anymore, so I have no reason to cheer for you at all anymore. Kaprizov being the richest man in hockey, that is not an owner, billionaire, but fantastic signing for you guys, even though you guys just got out of the Suter and Parise buyouts. Just, never too much of a good thing, right? Right back in, and it made sense, honestly, for Minnesota, especially to keep him. And then McDavid has to go and sign that to just pull the rug from under your feet. Guys, don't take it. Go and hate on them. Seriously, Minnesota, hate Edmonton, right? Even though they kicked the crap out of Vegas, who you disliked from last year's first round and a couple of years ago. Anyway, dislike Edmonton with me, please. Minnesota fans. That contract honestly scared me with the Eichel extension, and then the McDavid thing happened, and I think that lowered my, it was good. But yeah, Minnesota, Kaprizov, stay healthy. I genuinely hope he stays healthy and is able to have another season where he was in the MVP conversation the first half of the season, or until he got injured, right? And I think that he's capable of doing that again. And so hopefully he's able to, as a winger, and do well for you guys. And I can see you guys potentially doing higher than this, but I have you in 6th. In 5th, he's St. Louis. I'm sorry, Mason. I have St. Louis in 5th. Trading Bolduc for Mayu was a bold move. A complete head scratcher. Made no sense to me. I get like you guys need better defensemen and like Montreal needs more forwards, but like you guys were using Bolduc well. I don't know. If it was him or Kyrou, I mean, I guess I get it, but I was really disappointed by that move. Adding Pia Suter, I like, even though the cap hit might seem high. Like, he's a good center option from what I watched him do in Vancouver. And Cam Fowler had a renaissance with you guys in the postseason. So if he's able to continue that with you guys in St. Louis this whole season, like, that's a great pickup for you guys. But still, I have you guys in 5th, because in 4th, I have the Utah Mammoth. And I have them taking a step, mammoth of a step. Finally, you guys have an identity that doesn't consist with every single other professional and amateur club out in the rest of the world by just being hockey club. You're the Mammoth, right? And I'm so happy for you guys. Genuinely, I feel like I'm supposed to like you because I lived in Utah for a while. I like Arizona too, though. Keller is fantastic. I like the JJ Peterka for Doan and Kesselring, even though I loved Kesselring. I was there for that 2-goal comeback against Vancouver back in December, and I was wearing Vegas gear. It might have been the only one in the arena, and yet I was still featured in advertisements here at the bottom of the screen. But my brother-in-law, he was cheering for you guys hard, and I celebrated with him when you guys finally won it in overtime. Mostly because I introduced him into hockey, and like he has liked it since then. Anyway, yeah, no, it's I feel like I'm supposed to like you. Peterka is supposed to be good, right? And Brandon Tanev, Nate Schmidt are solid depth pieces. I think you guys are going to make the playoffs this year, which would make sense. Seattle made it in their second year. Vegas made it in their second. They also made it in their first. Arizona was on that turn to progress, and you guys are actually signing people, and that's good. And I like Clayton Keller. I like your youth. The improvements made to your arena and state-of-the-art practice facility, yeah, I think you guys are going to make the playoffs. Going much further than that, probably not, but still 4th and playoffs, which are good for Utah and growth of the sport in that community. In 3rd, I have Winnipeg. Sorry, Jets fans. Losing Ehlers is going to be tough, and replacing them with, let's see, Tanner Pearson, Gustav Nyquist, and Jonathan Toews, which if this was 8 years ago would be terrifying. But it's 2025, and Toews hasn't played meaningful hockey. I don't know what he's done, honestly. In the last 2 years, I don't think that really moves the needle at all in as far as losing Ehlers. And Hellebuck is fantastic, the best goalie in the league. If he's able to have another MVP season, but back-to-back, when he plays so many games, and like he's fantastic in the regular season, and for the playoffs at home, home games, he was good. I don't know. I don't think he's going to have, again, an injury to Connor Hellebuck completely derails their season. And that's a goalie. Like, I don't know. I think you guys have good talent in there between Kyle Connor, Scheifele, and I see a little bit of a fallback because Hellebuck not necessarily having a bad season, but having not as good as the ridiculous MVP season he had last year. And second, I have Colorado. The Avs are a fantastic team. The addition of re-signing Brock Nelson to his a ridiculous extension in my opinion. And then the cap hits started coming later in the season. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not as ridiculous, but I definitely thought it was ridiculous in the moment. Adding Brent Burns, losing Coyle, and Miles Wood, I think in general those are good moves, and having a full season of Landeskog might be fantastic. But it was definitely an emotional roller coaster with you guys in the first round last year, and I think that was unfair to have you against Dallas, but you guys would eventually have to get through them anyway, and with the current playoff system, which hopefully they change to be 1 through 8, could have been different, and second round is definitely different than first round. Your guys' top end talent is ridiculous between McKinnon, Makar, Toews. I was gonna say Rantanen, but I genuinely think that McKinnon is on the second biggest sweetheart deal in the league, even though he's one of the top paid players. Anyway, McDavid being first. The Avs are a really good team, and I see them finishing in second in the division, which means I have Dallas winning the division. I think that's what I had last year. They dumped Dumba and Marchment, which I agreed with those moves, even though Marchment is a solid player. He made a lot of dumb penalties and mistakes, though. Lost to Donov, but they kept J-Rob, which is good. And Duchesne at a actually decent, like really good cap hit. They have like 0 cap space, but it's better than how it felt like most of the offseason they were in. Jamie Benn's re-signing, his cap hit is also really good. Dallas is such a good, well-rounded team. I really love Harley, J-Rob, Ottinger, Rantanen, Johnston. They are just really, really good. So Dallas is top of the Central. Moving on to the Atlantic, and this division is honestly, I think, the most up in the air because anything can happen. In 8th, I have the Boston Bruins again. I know, and generally speaking, when it comes to season predictions, recency bias plays a huge role in where most fans have them. I'm not an analyst. I'm not paid. This is just, I'm a fan talking about hockey. And, that's about it. Boston, I have an 8th because they basically added McAvoy and Lindholm. Hampus, not Elias. They're in rebuild mode, right? And so for their sake, I think it would be good for them to be as low as possible, to be able to potentially get McKenna or just other high draft selections to rebuild their core, even though McAvoy is an incredible talent. And who could forget David Pastrnak? Just fantastic talent that they have that are going to be wasting a couple of years on a very bad Boston Bruins team, which is weird to call you bad because you're the Bruins, right? In 7th, I have the Sabres. Adding Kesselring and Doan for JJ Peterka, with Peterka not willing to sign there, it is what it is. But nothing else. With all that cap space, I really hope for Buffalo Sabres fans' sake that your owner is able to finally let go of his reins of the team and is able to, that you guys get a competent owner that will be able to select a competent GM that is able to do good things for your franchise, because I think the NHL is a better place with the Sabres being not a laughing stock that has missed the playoffs for 14 years now. Or am I predicting the future there? I don't know. I have you 7th either way because it's going to take a miraculous season from, I guess, any of your defensive prospects that are now not prospects that should just be, bona fide players, or Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, any of those. It would take a miraculous season. And maybe that's honestly what you guys need, is a miracle to finally get back into the playoffs. But Buffalo, 7th and 6th, I have the Red Wings. I want them to take the next step because they're the Detroit Red Wings, right? And adding Gibson is a solid get. He wasn't the starter last year, and so putting him in the starter's position, maybe that's good. Maybe his numbers will go down. We don't know. Adding JVR and Appleton, losing Tarasenko. Hopefully Bernard Docker is good, and Cider I really like. I don't know what you guys are doing. The Yzer plan, I know you guys had to build from worse than nothing, honestly, but it's taking too long, honestly, and you guys are losing a lot of important pieces along the way, like Wallman, hopefully not Cider. Appleton is from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Go Pack Go! In 5th, I am sorry, Ottawa Senators fans. Ottawa, I believe in you guys. The Atlantic is tough. Jordan Spence should benefit your third pair. Benefiting your third pair doesn't move the needle that much, does it? And then I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to lay into that. Lars Eller, he's a good veteran piece. Hopefully he's able to bolster that, but I want y'all to build off of last season, and I can see it happening, but I don't know, 5th. And 4th, shocker for most people, especially because a month ago, I would have had them higher. The Florida Panthers, and hear me out, 3 straight Stanley Cup final runs. Obviously, they lose in 5 in the first one, and then win in 7, and then 6 in back-to-back years. Incredible. And they just re-signed everyone. Conn Smythe winner Sam Bennett, the Ekblad, Marchand. The fact that they were able to do that, according to Marchand, only because of tax reasons, which that, you know, was so beneficial to the rest of the tax-free states like Vegas. But they are not going to have Barkov for most of, if not all of the season. And Tkachuk is going to be out for a large portion of the season. The regular season does not matter to these guys. And once they get to the playoffs, if they're able to get Barkov back and they're going to have Tkachuk back, they will be a monster again. Especially because playoff-style hockey benefits a couple of their players, including one that I very much dislike. Got a lot of praise and recognition last year. But I do appreciate that they take some of the hate away from Vegas because they just draw it into themselves with all the eyes on them. And that's nice. Thank you, Florida. And I have a soft spot for you because my son, a very impressionable 5-year-old, you know, a lot of kids like winning. You know, and he, from his preschool, got this Pink Panther keychain thing, and he was like, oh, Panthers, like the hockey team that won last year, that lost in the finals to Vegas the year before. He's 5, but he remembers that, thankfully. And that, you know, I'm gonna like the Panthers. They're like big cats, right? And he likes cats right now, and so he started cheering for the Panthers through the finals, and he was like, oh, like when Vegas lost, like Vegas is definitely still his number 1 team. I haven't gotten to disowning him yet. For tax purposes, that was not tax purposes. What is the, just to be clear, that was a joke. I would never disown over that. Anyway, disowning in general, no, never. But like especially not that. That was what I was trying to say. If it's another Florida Edmonton final, I'm cheering for Florida. I like seeing my son happy, and he likes the Panthers. I even got him, hold on. This shirt, because it was on sale, it was like $7, and it's a Florida Panthers championship. Like, just, you know, I have a soft spot because of my son, but I have you in 4th because of the injuries to very important players, and your, you know, good players getting older and maybe regressing and not being great in the regular season in general. But, you know, the playoffs are where it's at for you guys, so it doesn't really matter where you finish in the regular season as long as you make it there, right? In 3rd, I have Montreal, which maybe I'm too high on them, but adding Noah Dobson and Zach Bolduc, another year of Lane Hudson, I really like and believe in the Canadians right now. I'm not sold on their goalies. I like Montembeault, but not sold yet, and I think that they're good enough to finish 3rd in the Atlantic right now in this year where it's wide open. In 2nd, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs. I have been taking a step back in the regular season. Adding Nick Waugh is fantastic. I love Nick Waugh. Matthias Michelli, I loved him in Arizona. He had a bad year in Utah, but he can bounce back. And Dakota Joshua from Vancouver. A great get, you know? Re-signing Tavares at that cap hit should mean that none of y'all ever complain about tax advantages again, because especially Toronto, oh my goodness, the amount of advantages that you guys have specifically with being the worth the most team in the NHL, all of the resources that y'all have, and like just, it's ridiculous the amount of old players that go to you guys to try to revive their career because of the state-of-the-art medical access that they have by being a Toronto Maple Leaf. And then all the endorsement stuffs because you're a Toronto, like, whatever. The world's out to get you. Haven't won since '67, whatever. But, like, and I know losing Marner is going to suck for you guys in the regular season, no matter how you feel about him. Yeah, the drama that was associated with the in-locker room chemistry is going to be different, you know, and that's going to take some growing pains. And even if it's different because it needed to be, because there needed to be a change so that you guys can try to get past the 2nd round for the first time since, what, 2004? Just, it's good for you guys in general, but Marner is Marner, and losing him is probably going to cause some sort of a regular season step back. If that translates to postseason success, you're not going to care. But I'm putting you at 2nd, and I have Tampa Bay at 1st, mostly because Tampa, sorry about Isaac Howard, did you have to send him to Edmonton? Really? Of all places. Seriously? I like the Gord signing. And in general, I like your team a lot. I had high expectations for you last year going into the playoffs that y'all very much disappointed me and the rest of your fans. Hello, 2019 Twitter post about I like your top four. I like your top 6. I like your goal. Vasi's Vasi. And with Florida being as injured as they are, and Toronto probably needing to figure out a little bit of the like, I see a route for you guys to take first in the Atlantic. I don't know if that translates to any postseason success. The Atlantic is tough. First, I'm still not sure, but I'm gonna put Tampa in first. And that means that this is it. These are the teams, and where I have them in the standings, which means playoff-wise, I don't think I have that many different. I don't know. This season is wide open, and a single injury to a single player could derail a team's entire season. And that could be Vegas, that could be anyone. So let's see how wrong I am at the end of the year. I'm so excited for hockey to be back, for games to be meaningful, even though apparently for fights and injuries, it doesn't matter if you're in Florida or geez. But let's have a fantastic 2025-26 season, and may the best team win and come out on top, and let that please be the Vegas Golden Knights. Because just think about how much fun that would be to rub that into Toronto's face, every other team in the league. Thank y'all for sitting with me through all that. I know it was a lot. I did a lot of research. I don't know, it felt good to kind of catch up. And we're going to be playing that game of he's where now? Oh, that guy plays for this team? Oh, this coach is here. There was a lot of turnover this last year, even though it felt like there wasn't as much, for a lot of depth players at least. And anyway. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It's free and it'll help me out. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.